Welcome to AFRITALES by Moonlight. Please subscribe, like, comment and share our channel with your friends. Thank you.
Elijah made the last right turn onto Mango Grove Crescent just as the late afternoon sky in Port Harcourt shifted from cobalt to bruised violet. Harmattan dust drifted behind the silver Lexus, blurring the neat row of jacaranda trees that lined both sides of the street like watchful guardians. Beside him in the passenger seat, Tara adjusted the silk scarf around her braids and offered a conspiratorial smile, a smile that tried to stitch confidence over a seam of nervousness. "Almost there," Elijah said, forcing casual warmth into his voice. Tara reached across the console, tracing a fingertip along the back of his hand. "You are sure Amira is still with her sister?" He nodded, eyes fixed on the winding road. "Positive. She said she would stay until Sunday night. We will have the house to ourselves for at least 24 hours. The lie tasted metallic, but he swallowed it anyway. He had rehearsed this moment for months, weaving a tapestry of half-truths so convincing that even he had started believing it. Tara had been the thrilling secret, the forbidden taste that made him feel alive when routine began to choke him. Bringing her to his marital home today was supposed to be the final proof that he could have everything: respectable husband, rising architect, and clandestine lover, without consequences. He tapped the remote clip to the sun visor. The wrought iron gate slid open with the slow dignity of a curtain rising on opening night. Well-manicured hedges bowed along the driveway, welcoming him back like patient servants. Everything visible screamed normalcy, but normal had already slipped out the back door. The Lexus rolled to a stop under the carport. Elijah killed the engine. Silence descended, broken only by the faint whir of the gate closing behind them. He waited for the familiar warmth of homecoming to bloom in his chest, Amira's laughter from the kitchen, the smell of aguzi simmering on the stove, gospel music pulsing softly. Instead, there was only the brittle hush of absence. Tara opened her door. "I will grab my weekend bag." He joined her, retrieving their luggage from the boot. Inside, automatic lights flickered on, filling the corridor with clinical brightness. The framed wedding portrait, Amira in ivory lace, Elijah in a charcoal suit, still hung above the shoe rack, but the glass now reflected accusation instead of joy. Tara paused, studying the picture. "You both look happy," she said. "We were," Elijah answered too quickly, then cleared his throat. "Come, the guest room is upstairs." They climbed the mahogany staircase, loafers whispering against polished wood. Halfway up, Tara giggled and tugged him close, her perfume a heady blend of vanilla and adventure. She pressed her lips to his. "We could christen the master bedroom. That would be naughtier." Elijah's pulse jumped. "Steady, my rebel. One step at a time." At the landing, he turned the brass handle of the master bedroom. The door swung inward. The room yawned, vast, vacant, unsettling. The king-size bed was stripped bare, mattresses leaning against the wall like abandoned monuments. Closet doors stood open, hangers swaying gently, emptied of the colorful dresses Amira loved. Tara stepped back. "Where are the sheets? Did the cleaners come?" Elijah's mind stalled. He crossed the room, flinging open drawer after drawer. Empty. The vanity table was gone, only dust rings outlining where jewelry boxes once rested. Downstairs a chill draft whispered through the corridor. They inspected the study, bookshelves half bare, family photos removed. The kitchen, cabinets open, clay pots missing. "Maybe she moved things for fumigation," Tara offered, voice trembling. Elijah dialed Amira's number. Ringing. Voicemail. Again, voicemail. He called her sister. "Is Amira still with you?" "She was never here," Raina replied. "She left town days ago and asked not to be followed." The call ended with a click that echoed in his bones. Tara touched his shoulder. "What is happening?" He noticed a single object on the otherwise naked dining table, a cream-colored envelope. Inside lay a blank sheet of paper, perfectly folded into thirds. No words, no signature. Yet it screamed. Tara frowned. Maybe a prank. Elijah swallowed hard. "No, this is her message." "But there is nothing written." "That is the point." The house no longer belonged to him. It had become a tomb, and Amira's silence was the tombstone. Thunder rumbled. Rain began to tap the roof tiles in tentative applause, as though the heavens themselves recognized the opening act of a tragedy. Tara exhaled. "Elijah, I feel unwelcome here. We should leave. No, he snapped, then softened. I need to understand what happened. Upstairs, in the guest wardrobe, he found a single garment bag. Inside hung a plain white dress and a hospital bracelet. The patient name read *** Lena M. ***. Admission date 4 days ago. What is that? Tara whispered. A clue, he said. And a confession. Lightning flashed, merging their shadows on the wall. Two silhouettes caught in a storm of their own making. The grandfather clock chimed 6, each gong a judge's gavel. Elijah slid the blank paper into his pocket, stepped onto the porch, and let the rain soak him like a brutal baptism. Tara did not follow. Where are you going? To find her, he replied. You do not even know where to start. He touched the bracelet. I have one lead. That is enough. The gate creaked open. He stepped into the street, rain wrapping him in relentless embrace. Behind him the gate closed, sealing Tara inside a house that felt like an empty shell. Somewhere beyond the downpour, Amira was walking barefoot through unknown streets, reclaiming the fragments he had broken. He kept moving, each footfall an unspoken plea. The storm did not ease through the night. It drummed on iron roofing, thrashed gutters, and flooded Mango Grove Crescent until the neat asphalt looked like an inland delta. Elijah walked for 10 minutes before the weight of soaked clothes forced him beneath the awning of a closed pharmacy. There, in the hiss of rain, doubt arrived to gnaw at resolve. He slipped the hospital bracelet from his pocket, tanning the plastic loop under the dim light of a flickering street lamp. Lena M. The name felt like a riddle carved by grief. He thumbed the raised letters while replaying Amira's voice in memory. Gentle, steady, unhurried. How many times had she tried to speak, only for him to hush her with deadlines and tired excuses? A red glow washed across the street. Headlights. A police patrol truck rolled up, wiper swishing. The passenger window slid down. "Say, you all right?" asked the constable, accent thick with River State cadence. "Curfew starts in 30 minutes. Heavy flood alert." Elijah forced a smile that tasted like rust. "Heading home soon, officer." "Thank you." The truck growled off, leaving him in oily silence. Curfew. The word echoed with parental authority he had not felt since childhood. Go home, it seemed to say. But home was now an echo chamber of guilt, and Tara waited inside that echo. A memory safest, Amira once telling a dinner guest that silence could scream louder than any trumpet if the heart already rang with dread. He had laughed then, thinking her poetic. Now he understood. He dialed his best friend Kelechi, the only person who knew fragments of his affair without knowing the depth. The call rang 3 times. "Elijah," Kelechi answered, voice tinged with sleep and static. "Rain is murdering the roof, brother. You good?" Elijah looked at the sky. "Not exactly. Amira is missing." Silence. Kelechi inhaled. "Missing as in?" "Gone. House empty. No note. Only a hospital bracelet with another name." Kelechi whistled softly. "Odagu architect, what trouble have you designed for yourself?" "I need you," Elijah said, words tumbling. "I need you to run a patient lookup tomorrow. Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital keeps a central database. You still know that IT guy in records?" "I do, and he owes me lunch. Text me the alias now." "But Elijah, are the police involved?" "Not yet," Elijah said. "Malik might call them they." "Malik?" Kelechi groaned. "The brother who once promised to staple your ears to your skull if you hurt her again." "The one." A clap of thunder severed the line for a second. Kelechi's voice returned, softer. "You are in over your head. Go home. Rest. Start at first light." "Home is hollow," Elijah whispered. "Then find a hotel. Dry up before hypothermia teaches you humility." Elijah blinked away rain. "Tomorrow, 10 a.m., by the hospital cafeteria. Text me the alias. I will be there." Call ended. He typed *Lena M. ** and hit send. For a moment the name glowed on his screen, an ember that refused to die. He pocketed the phone and studied the floodwater swirling past his shoes, carrying jacaranda petals and torn sachets. The current looked purposeful, as if it meant to take everything loose and carry it to a sea where secrets bobbed like debris. He walked back toward the house, though every cell rebelled. The gate recognized the remote and sighed open. Tara stood under the porch light, a thin robe clutched around her. Her eyes were swollen. Elijah, thank God. I thought you left me stranded. He passed her without a word, dripping water onto the parquet. Inside, the grandfather clock ticked in judgment. He peeled off his shirt, wrung it over the sink. Tara watched, arms folded. Elijah, talk to me. He turned. You should leave in the morning. Her chin trembled. So I am punished for what? Loving you. No, he said, voice flat, for believing my lies. She flinched as though slapped. Do you think I would have come here if I knew your wife was what? Elijah's tone sharpened. A ghost. A victim. Pick a word. Tara swiped a tear. You are hurting, so you lash out. I understand. You do not, he replied. I need to fix this. Alone. She straightened. Resolve hardened her features. I will leave first, Light, but hear me. You can chase her until the world ends and still not find the forgiveness you want. Forgiveness starts behind your own ribs. He opened his mouth, closed it. Somewhere within him a futile anger sought someone to blame. Himself, the rain, fate, anything but the choice he had made to break a bond he once vowed would hold till ash. Tara padded upstairs. Elijah remained in the kitchen, listening to her suitcase zipper rasp shut. When the house fell silent again, he opened the pantry and pulled out a nearly empty bottle of coconut liquor, a New Year's souvenir from an uncle. He poured a modest dose, then stopped. He had no right to numb the ache. He needed it sharp, so he would never forget how it felt. He dumped the liquor down the drain. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Morning arrived pale and exhausted. Elijah drove alone to Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. Kelechi waited near the cafeteria, hood over his locks, tapping a paper cup. You look like you wrestled a hurricane, Kelechi said, passing him a coffee. Black, no sugar. Bless you, Elijah muttered, sipping warmth. Kelechi produced a folded printout. I had to grease palms, but hey. Lena M. was admitted 4 nights ago. Emergency intake from a roadside collapse. Disoriented, low blood sugar, early signs of hypothermia. Elijah scanned. Age, height, blood type, identical to Amira. Ward. She discharged herself the next afternoon. Against advice. To weigh. Nobody knows. She signed out using that alias. But check this. Kelechi tapped a paragraph. Patient kept muttering a name during brief consciousness. Malik. Elijah felt a muscle jump in his jaw. Her brother. Brother's phone off. Voicemail since last night. Kelechi studied him. What is your plan? Find the social worker on duty. Troll security footage. Follow any breadcrumb. Kelechi nodded. I took time off today. Let us hunt. They located matron Ijeoma, who remembered the case vividly because the patient's eyes carried storms. She described how Lena M. refused next of kin details, accepted a donated sweater, and spent hours staring at the courtyard koi pond. Elijah pressed for CCTV. Matron Ijeoma shrugged, bureaucratic forms, approval from head of security. Kelechi, ever the charmer, offered to fix a stalled printer in exchange for easier access. While he tinkered, Elijah filled request forms until his handwriting blurred. 2 hours later they watched grainy footage in a dim booth. There, a mirror in a gray hospital gown and borrowed sandals, hair matted by rain, stepping through sliding doors. She paused near the gate, shaky. A taxi approached. Someone opened the back door, an elderly woman with a green Geel. Words were exchanged, brief, urgent. Matron Ijeoma leaned over. That is Mima Udo, the caretaker of Blessed Haven Shelter. I know her scarf anywhere. Elijah snapped upright. Shelter address. Abandoned colonial chapel on Creek Road, she said. Number 39. Elijah thanked her, grabbed Kelechi's arm, and hurried out. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Creek Road had once been a thriving missionary lane. Now its stucco facades peeled like sunburn. The colonial chapel stood at the very end, crucifix long missing, replaced by a hand-painted sign, asterisk Blessed Haven, home of Second Chance's star. They parked. A stray goat nibbled weeds by the rusted gate. Elijah's heart hammered as he lifted the knocker. Mima Udo answered. Her Geo was indeed green. Yes. He forced a steady tone. We are looking for someone you helped 2 nights ago. Her gaze swept him, shrewd. Plenty souls come and go. Who exactly? A woman using the name Lena. Late 20s, 5'6", deep dimples. Recognition flashed, quickly veiled. We respect privacy, hey. Kelechi stepped forward. Ma, she is his wife. We only need assurance she is safe. Mimaudo considered, then sighed. She left yesterday before dawn. She opened the ledger, * Lena M. Referred to Sunrise Art Retreat, Augen Waterside. * She closed the book. She needed stillness, said colors make sense where words fail. Elijah exhaled as though air carried shards. Kelechi clapped his shoulder. Road trip. Road trip, Elijah echoed. Mimaudo pressed a parcel into his hand, Amira's paint-stained sandals wrapped in brown paper. She forgot these. Maybe she will want them back when she remembers who she walked with. Her eyes softened. Go gently, son. Some hearts heal only in quiet. *****. They reached the coastal highway by noon. Palm fronds lashed the windshield, flinging salty mist. The world smelled of wet earth and motor oil. Kelechi handled the wheel while Elijah traced the map with restless fingers. Sunrise Art Retreat, Elijah murmured. She always dreamed of attending a residency there. Said the ocean mixes new blue every sunrise. Kelechi nodded. Then consider this pilgrimage. They accept only 10 artists each season. Destiny aligned. Or irony. Perhaps both. Elijah leaned back. Rain had thinned to drizzle, sky splitting into shy patches of azure. The storm's violence felt distant, a temper tantrum spent. Yet inside him, clouds churned louder than before. What if she refuses to see me? He asked. Kelechi shrugged gently. Then at least you will see her. And knowing she breathes is lighter than imagining she vanished. Elijah watched low clouds slide over the lagoon. Each kilometer felt like peeling a scab that had grown over his conscience. He pictured Amira standing before a blank canvas, brush trembling, coaxing color out of pain. Would her palette include the warm earth browns they once called their forever shade? Or had she banished those tones the day she erased herself from Mango Grove Crescent? Kelechi flicked the indicator, overtaking a slow lorry. You ready for Malik? Elijah winced. I have not even drafted that apology. Drafted in honesty, Kelechi said. He might still swing at you, but at least he will respect the truth. Elijah laughed without humor. The sea appeared beyond a bend, broad and indifferent. Waves crashed foam onto a jagged shoreline, then retreated, only to strike again. Persistence, he thought. The ocean teaches persistence. A new voice intruded, Amira's voicemail greeting, light and musical. Hello hello. Paint is messy but joy is messier. Leave a note. He had loved that line once. Now it sounded like a charge sheet cataloging his neglect. Kelechi parked beside a weather-worn sign. Sunrise Art Retreat. Guests check in at reception hut. Elijah stepped out. The air tasted of salt and turpentine. Artists moved between low cottages, some carrying easels, others wrapped in shawls splattered with pigment. Laughter drifted like gulls, quick and distant. A receptionist greeted them inside a bamboo hut filled with the scent of wet canvas. Elijah supplied Amira's alias and real name. The woman scanned her ledger. Yes, Lena registered yesterday, she said, tapping the page. She requested solitude. Cottage 8, Seacrest Path. No visitors until open studio on Friday. Please, Elijah said, voice cracking. I am her husband. She is healing from trauma. A brief word, nothing more. The receptionist regarded him, sympathy wrestling with policy. One visitor pass. She relented, sliding a badge across the counter. But respect her boundaries. If she asks you to leave, you must. Elijah nodded, gratitude catching in his throat. He and Kelechi followed the winding path past hibiscus bushes dripping with rain. Cottage 8 perched on a dune, window shutters flung open to the Atlantic roar. A faint vibration of jazz piano drifted out. Elijah halted at the door, badge cold in his fist. Wait here, he told Kelechi. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, softer. Footsteps. The door opened a sliver. A woman's face appeared. Freckles, solemn eyes. Not Amira. She wore a paint-splashed apron. Yes. I am looking for Lena, Elijah said. She is in the garden by the cliff, the woman replied, nodding inland. She paints the rocks at low tide. Try not to startle her. Elijah thanked her and followed a narrow path lined with beech almond leaves. His heartbeat galloped. He crested a small rise. There, under a crooked palm, sat a mirror, her back to him, canvas propped before her, brush dancing. She wore a simple dress, white and billowing in the sea breeze. A scarf held back her braids. The ocean sprayed her ankles. He approached slowly until shells crunched beneath his shoe. She paused, turned. Her brown eyes widened, not with joy nor fury, but blank curiosity. Have we met? She asked, voice soft as shore foam. Elijah's world tilted. He opened his mouth, but the name lodged in his tongue. At that moment, every apology he rehearsed seemed gaudy, each excuse a cracked tile. Only one sentence crawled out. I came to bring you home. She tilted her head, studying him like a color she could not yet name. Home, she repeated, tasting the word. Then she looked back at the rolling tide. I am trying to remember where that is. Elijah's breath rattled. It is wherever you decide, he whispered. She examined her palette, selecting a thin brush. Would you mind standing there? She asked, pointing to a spot where sunlight broke through clouds. The light on your face could help me finish this horizon. He obeyed, rooted by wonder. As she painted, gulls wheeled overhead, and the Atlantic hurled itself against stone. In the hush between waves, Elijah heard the faintest percussion, Amira's heartbeat, steady, patient, building a rhythm that did not need his accompaniment but did not silence him either. Perhaps that was hope. He stood very still, letting the wind carve salt into his lips. Brushstrokes whispered across canvas, and with each stroke he felt the tide inside himself shift, eroding pride, shaping something gentler, something like remorse, something like love, if love can rise again after drowning. Kelechi watched from the dune, arms crossed, eyes misty. He would later swear that, for one fragile moment, the storm inside Elijah calmed, and the horizon on Amira's canvas glowed warmer than any dawn. Far down the dune, Kelechi's shout finally reached Elijah. Elijah, you have company. The wind battered the words, but the urgency cut through surf and screeching gulls. Elijah glanced toward the retreat's gravel car park. A dusty red Hilux had skidded to a halt, its tires spraying grit in an angry arc. 2 doors slammed. Malik stepped out first, shoulders squared, jaw tight. He wore a rumpled bomber jacket despite the heat, as if he had driven through the night without stopping. Behind him came Raina, Amira's older sister, her jewel undone, eyes flaring with alarm. Elijah's pulse snapped into a sprint. Amira, still painting, did not tan. She hummed an improvised melody, lost in a palette of ultramarine and sienna. She seemed unaware the past had finally caught her. Malik marched across the sand, boots crunching. Kelechi intercepted, hands raised in appeasement. Brother, slow down, Kelechi called. She is safe. Give them a moment. But Malik brushed past. He was on Elijah in 5 strides, voice booming like a crack drum. You, he backed, shoving Elijah backward. You vanish my sister, then come play tourist at her sanctuary. Elijah stumbled, regained footing. Malik, listen. Malik's fist cracked against Elijah's cheek. Pain fled white. The world tilted. Elijah tasted blood and brine. Raina gasped. Malik, enough. Kelechi seized Malik's arm. He came to make amends, not excuses. Malik wrenched free. Amends. He paraded another woman where my sister built her life, then acted shocked when she shattered. Elijah steadied himself, palm pressed to swelling cheek. I deserve that, he said, voice hoarse. And more. But right now she needs calm, not chaos. Malik's nostrils flared. I warned you once. I will not warn again. A small, clear voice cut through the tension. Malik. All heads turned. Amira stood barefoot on the sand, brush dangling at her side. Paint spattered her white dress like scattered petals. Her gaze flicked from Malik's tightened fist to Elijah's bruised face. What is this? She asked, perplexed, as if viewing a tableau she could not decode. Malik's anger collapsed into anguish. He opened his arms, but restrained the urge to rush her. Sis, it is me. We have been looking everywhere. Amira tipped her head, studying him like a half-remembered song. You are the man from my dream, she said quietly. You kept reaching through glass. Raina's eyes brimmed. She approached slowly, voice trembling. Do you know me, Amira? Amira's gaze lingered on Raina's unraveling jewel and swollen eyes. Recognition flickered, dim then brighter. Raina, she whispered, tasting the name. She nodded, once, as if acknowledging a half-recovered memory. Elijah swallowed against a knot in his throat. This was the reunion Malik deserved, the embrace Raina yearned for. Yet Amira's eyes slid past them, landing on Elijah with curious detachment. The silence stretched until surf filled the gaps. Malik exhaled shakily. Amira, let us take you home. Amira hugged herself. I am home, she said, gesturing to the ocean, to the easel. Here the tide tells stories. My head does not hurt when I paint. Malik's voice cracked. We can set up a studio at the family house. Mama will cook aguzi, Papa will. Her brow furrowed. Those names feel heavy. She pressed fingertips to her temples. Memories crowd like sharp stones. Kelechi stepped forward, tone gentle. What if we all sit first? Let the wind settle. Amira nodded uncertainly. She led them to a driftwood bench near a clump of sea oats. They sat, Amira between Raina and Kelechi, Malik opposite Elijah, fists knotted on his knees. Raina spoke soft and slow, recounting childhood games, building sandcastles at Bonny Island, racing barefoot across cassava fields. Each anecdote was a pebble tossed into Amira's mental pond, sending ripples of recollection. Sometimes her eyes brightened, sometimes tears pooled. When Raina described Amira's first art show, Amira smiled. The gallery with leaking roof. My canvases caught raindrops and became mixed media without permission. Malik let out a laugh nearly strangled by relief. But when talk circled to Elijah, wedding vows under jacarandas, late-night design sketches shared over Gary soaks, Amira's expression clouded. She stared at Elijah as if trying to peel away layers of unfamiliar skin to expose someone hidden underneath. I know that face, she murmured. But the name is locked behind fog. Voices in the fog call me stupid, invisible. Elijah's chest throbbed. I am Elijah, he said, voice raw. I hurt you. Not by accident, by careless choice. You deserved better. Amira regarded him for a long beat, then looked to Malik. Is he telling truth? Malik clenched his jaw. He betrayed your trust. Amira inhaled, gaze steady on Elijah. You broke me, she said, as one states the color of the sky. Elijah nodded, tears pricking. Yes. And now you want to glue me back. He shook his head. I cannot glue you. I can only hold the pieces if you want them, or leave them if you choose. She pondered that. Seabirds cried above. Raina squeezed Amira's hand. We can take you somewhere quiet, without him. Amira looked over the dune toward her half-finished painting. I need silence to remember, but maybe I also need voices to remind me I existed before the silence. Malik stood, sand spraying. We can stay here, rent a room in the village until you are ready. Amira rose. I would like that. She turned to Elijah, eyes soft yet distant. Will you be angry if I ask you to leave? Elijah's heart lurched. No, your peace is bigger than my regret. She nodded, relief mingling with sorrow. She retrieved her paint-stained sandals from the brown parcel Malik carried, slipped them on, and allowed Raina to guide her toward the cottages. Malik followed, but paused beside Elijah. If you truly love her, Malik growled low, let her heal without your shadow. Elijah met his gaze. I will. Malik studied him a moment longer, as if weighing the sincerity of Marrow. Then he walked away. Kelechi released a breath. Brother, you are bleeding. Elijah touched his cheek. Blood smeared his fingertips. He felt oddly numb. Kelechi's voice softened. You kept your composure. Malik may never thank you, but I saw his respect when you took that punch. Elijah watched Amira's figure recede. Respect is smoke. What matters is the fire of her recovery. They stood side by side while gulls circled lazy spirals overhead. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. That night Kelechi drove Elijah to a nearby guest lodge. Wind rattled the shutters while rain whispered on the tin roof. Elijah sat on the narrow bed, ice pack pressed to cheek. Kelechi set 2 mugs of instant cocoa on the small desk. No whiskey, Kelechi said. Humility tastes better sober. Elijah managed a half-smile. They drank in silence until Kelechi spoke. You intend to leave tomorrow? Yes, she asked. Where will you go? Back to Port Harcourt. Face the ruins I built. Kelechi tilted his head. And Tara? Elijah's stomach twisted. She is leaving the house today. I offered funds for relocation. Generous, Kelechi said, not judging. Elijah sighed. Generosity cannot whitewash betrayal. Kelechi sipped cocoa. When pride sets like concrete, only confession cracks it. Keep confessing, to Malik, to Raina, to yourself. Elijah stared at the rain trickling down the window. Confession feels like handing strangers the blueprint of your heart. Strangers. They were family before you blurred the lines. Elijah closed his eyes. Do you think she will remember me fully? Kelechi shrugged. Memory is a stubborn tide. It may wash fragments ashore when she least expects. Whether that brings anger or closure is her right. Elijah nodded slowly. Then what is your plan when you leave? Kelechi asked. I fix what I can control, Elijah said. I practice solitude, therapy, service. Maybe design a clinic for shelters like Blessed Haven, pro bono. Kelechi's eyes glinted with approval. Let remorse pour into something useful. Elijah's phone buzzed. A voice message from an unknown number. He hesitated, then played it on speaker. Tara's voice seeped out. Shaky. I am at the airport. I booked a flight to Kigali to stay with my cousin. I will not reach out again. I pray she forgives you one day. And I pray you forgive yourself. Goodbye. Silence subsumed the room. Kelechi rubbed his beard. One chapter closes. Many pages of damage remain, Elijah whispered. He lay back, listening to the storm's lullaby. Eventually exhaustion dragged him into uneasy sleep where Amira's painting morphed into a cracked fresco and Malik's fists became hammers beating a church bell of remorse. He woke before dawn, heart pounding, and wrote in a notebook, asterisk if love is architecture. I violated the building code. Asterisk. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Morning sun pried open clouds, revealing a sky rinsed clean. Elijah and Kelechi packed the Hilux. Before leaving, Elijah asked the receptionist to deliver a small parcel to Amira, his wedding ring strung on a leather cord, and a note written without florid pleas. Asterisk this ring does not ask you to retain. It only testifies that once I promised you everything and then failed. Keep it, toss it, melt it into paint, whatever frees you. I will spend the rest of my days learning what real promise means. Elijah. Asterisk. The receptionist folded the note, sealing it in a plain envelope. I will respect her choice to open or refuse. Elijah bowed gratitude. They drove off, tires humming. At the crest of the hill, Elijah looked back. Cottage roofs glimmered like shells. Somewhere beyond, Amira might be sipping palm wine with Raina, toes in warm sand, Malik standing guard. The image soothed the raw edges of his heart. Kelechi turned on the radio. A high-life song filled the cab, lyrics about rivers forgiving stones for interrupting their flow. Elijah closed his eyes, letting melody carry him. Perhaps forgiveness was not a destination but a current. You stepped in, felt its chill, its unpredictable depth, and trusted it to bear you somewhere quieter. Today he had stepped in. Tomorrow he would keep waiting. The road ribboned ahead, sun dazzling the rear-view mirror. Behind that glass lay a storm-torn past. In front waited miles of penance and possibility. Elijah rolled down the window, letting salt wind whip his face. Pain pulsed in his cheek, but beneath it thrummed something fragile and nascent. Hope, maybe. Or the first gentle beat of becoming someone worth the echo of his own promises. Ocean dawn unfurled like a shy curtain, bathing sunrise out retreat in gold so soft it felt whispered rather than shone. Amira stood on the veranda of Cottage 8, clutching a steaming mug of lemongrass tea. Eyes on the horizon where bruised indigo bled into molten honey. She had not slept. Color storms kept her eyelids fluttering all night, canvases blooming behind closed eyes. Yet she felt alert, as though sunrise had poured caffeine straight into her pulse. Beside her, Raina breathed in salty air. First light is your favorite, yes. Amira nodded, though the memory was half shadow. The sky tells a long story in 5 minutes. If you blink, You miss entire chapters. Raina smiled, relief mingling with grief. Every lucid statement felt like a bead on a fragile necklace. She dared not tug too hard. Breakfast is akara and pap, she offered. Mima Udo sent it with love. Amira's stomach rumbled, but painting tugged harder. After a few strokes, she murmured. She stepped inside where 4 fresh canvases lined the wall, primed last night in a frenzy of focus that frightened Raina. Amira selected one, set it on an easel by the open window, lit incense fragrant with cedar. Then she opened her sketchbook to a blank page and pressed a charcoal nub to paper. Asterisk hollow house, echo mouth, secrets drip from leaking roof. Asterisk the word surprised her. She had meant to sketch, yet poetry spilled out instead. Letters looped across the page, urgent, unstoppable. Asterisk silence is a drum if your heart is loud enough. Asterisk. She paused, listening. Waves thumped the cliff base below. Gulls cried overhead, but beneath that she sensed another rhythm, her own breath sinking with distant footfalls on gravel. Malik appeared at the doorway, carrying a small, battery-powered radio. He lifted it in greeting. Found this in the village market. AM band only, but news is news. Amir's eyes crinkled. I used to paint with high life crackling in the background. Malik set the radio on a stool, fiddled with the dial until palm wine guitar floated out, thin but cheerful. He glanced at the charcoal poem. Words now. Thought you were all brush and pigment. She shrugged. Words arrived uninvited. Sometimes they show up like stray cats. Malik leaned against the window frame. Stray cats can bite. So can memories, she answered, surprising herself with the sharpness. He nodded, accepting the truth without flinch. A counselor from Port Harcourt Trauma Center does weekly sessions here. Her van should arrive by noon. Raina signed you up. Amira's grip on the charcoal tightened. Counselor. That means questions. Soft questions, Malik promised. You decide which ones to answer. Amira inhaled cedar smoke, steadying. Will you stay? I will wait outside, ready if needed. Malik's voice cracked. But I will not crowd your way. She touched his sleeve. You never crowd, big brother. He left, shoulders easing. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Noon arrived in a hush of distant thunder. Thick clouds gathered but held their rain like withheld tears. A white van with a green cross on the door rolled up the gravel lane. From it emerged Dr. Sarah Eade, a petite woman with short silvering hair, haloed by a sunflower-patterned scarf. She carried a canvas tote bulging with notebooks and colored pencils. Raina greeted her. Malik hovered farther back. Dr. Sarah introduced herself to Amira with a handshake gentle as parchment. Shall we walk? She asked, gesturing toward a shaded path flanked by tamarind trees. They strolled in companionable silence until they reached a bamboo gazebo overlooking tide pools. Inside, cushions ringed a low table. Dr. Sarah set down her tote and produced a small voice recorder. May I? She asked. Amira studied the device. To record my voice. Only if you choose, Dr. Sarah said. Your story and your timbre, for playback later. Sometimes hearing your own recounting can loosen knots. Amira nodded. Record. Dr. Sarah clicked it on. Date, time, location. She announced softly into the MIC, then placed it between them. Amira, she began, pen poised. How does today feel inside your body? Amira closed her eyes. Like standing knee-deep in surf, sent sucking at heels. Balanced yet slippery. Good metaphor, Dr. Sarah said. Name one sound you welcome today. The oceans inhale. And one sound you fear. Amira hesitated. A door slam. The word emerged brittle. Tell me why. Doors closing means someone left or someone arrived to judge. Dr. Sarah nodded, jotting notes. We can work on safe door sounds later. For now, paint a word picture of the safest memory you own. Amira pictured an 8-year-old version of herself beneath the mango tree in their childhood compound, sketching Malik playing football with cousins. Warm soil under bare feet. The mango tree dropped sticky jewels. I felt invisible in a good way, hidden inside the rustling leaves. Beautiful, Dr. Sarah said. That memory is an anchor. We will return to it when storms rise. For an hour they spiraled through gentle questions, Textures that soothed, foods that nauseated, colors that calmed. Amira answered most, deflected some. Occasionally her gaze drifted beyond the gazebo, where Raina and Malik sat on a bench, heads bent together. She heard gulls, smelled salt and tamarind pods, and felt her chest unclench by millimeters. At session's end, Dr. Sarah handed her a small device, a digital audio diary. Speak freely into it whenever thoughts clog. No rules. Amira weighed it in her palm. Thank you. Remember, Dr. Sarah said, eyes kind, healing is not linear. It corkscrews, backtracks, leaps. Celebrate each breath. She departed in the van, leaving dust and echo. Amira returned to Cottage 8, recorder in pocket. Raina met her at the door. How do you feel? She asked. Like I have a flashlight for the fog, Amira replied. Raina kissed her forehead. Lunch waits. But Amira went straight to her easel. She selected cadmium yellow and phthalo blue, mixing until a vivid green emerged, the mango leaves of memory. She painted a canopy across the canvas top, letting drips run down like summer rain. Beneath it she added red splotches, fallen mangoes, sweet and bruising. She whispered into the recorder, Here's the tree that hid my small heart. Here's the fruit that stained my fingers the first time I drew in secret. Her voice trembled, but she kept talking, describing each stroke until words turned to tears she let fall freely. Outside, thunder rolled closer. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. That same afternoon, 100 kilometers away, Elijah sat in a therapist's office that smelled of peppermint oil and new leather. The therapist, Mr. Basie, wore tortoiseshell glasses and a tie printed with abstract brushstrokes. He studied Elijah's intake form. Marital infidelity, partner experiencing trauma, recent family estrangement, he summarized. And a cheek contusion. Quite the dossier. Elijah mustered a strained grin. The punch was deserved. Mr. Basie folded his hands. Many clients arrive expecting penance. This room is not a confessional booth. It is a workshop. We examine broken machinery and build better gears. Elijah exhaled. I can work with that. Feist, Mr. Basie said. Rank your current emotions highest to lowest. Guilt, grief, helplessness, hope, Elijah answered without pause. No anger. Anger at myself is folded into guilt. Any at Amira. Elijah's eyes widened. Never. Any at Tara. A flicker redirected inward. Mr. Basie nodded. Describe helplessness. I offered everything, money, relocation, but those are bandages, not medicine. So you seek medicine. I seek a manual for not being a walking hazard. Mr. Basie smiled gently. We will draft one. For homework, write a timeline of your relationship with Amira, marking points where communication failed. Use plain language, no architecture metaphors. Elijah chuckled despite himself. I love my metaphors. Which is why we limit them, Mr. Basie said with a wink. Clarity over cleverness. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Evening draped the retreat in indigo. Malik brewed hibiscus tea while Raina organized clean brushes. Candlelight flickered, throwing soft halos on cottage walls. Amira emerged from her studio corner, charcoal smudging her cheeks. Malik poured tea into enamel cups. Supper soon. Plantain and beans. Amira sank onto the floor cushion. My brain feels wrung out. Raina handed her a warm cloth. That is progress. Amira dabbed her face. I wrote a poem, and I cried without panic. Malik raised his cup. To brave tears. They clinked enamel. The radio, forgotten earlier, crackled with evening news, rising coastal erosion, a Senate debate. Static crowded words. Malik adjusted the dial but gave up, setting the radio aside. Amira hugged her knees. Tell me a silly family story. Raina grinned. Remember when Papa tried to fix the water pump? Amira's brow creased, searching. Raina detailed how Papa accidentally launched the PVC pipe like a rocket, dousing everyone. Amira's laughter emerged hesitant, then full, bright as flint sparks. Malik laughed too, eyes shining. The laughter subsided into a peaceful hush. Raina reached for Amira's hand. Whenever memories hurt, we will lace them between memories that heal. Amira squeezed back. Then the rope will hold. Rain finally broke, drumming the tin roof. Lanterns swayed. Malik pulled a wool blanket across Amira's shoulders. Thunder rolled, softer this time, like distant applause. Amira closed her eyes, listening to rain and sibling heartbeats. She felt tired, but it was the tiredness of fields after harvest, spent yet satisfied. Under the blanket she fingered the digital recorder. Turning it on, she whispered so only the device could hear. Today I met silence on my own terms. It bowed. She clicked stop. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Miles away, Elijah sat at his drafting desk. Old blueprints cleared away to make space for a blank sketchpad. He began his timeline, writing in block letters. Asterisk year 1. We laughed under leaking roofs. Asterisk. Asterisk year 2. Deadlines louder than birthdays. Asterisk. Asterisk year 3. I chose applause over quiet dinners. Asterisk. Asterisk year 4. I mistook thrill for love. Asterisk. Asterisk year 5. She packed silence into a suitcase and left. Asterisk. He stared at the words until they blurred. Then he turned the page and drew the outline of a modest building. Low cost, modular, designed for easy assembly in flood-prone regions. At the header he wrote, asterisk Blessed Haven Expansion Concept. Asterisk. For 2 hours he sketched ramps and sheltered courtyards, dorm rooms lit by skylights, therapy nooks covered in murals. He imagined Amira's outlining those walls, teaching women to paint their voices. As pencil met paper, a strange calm settled across his shoulders, the calm of purpose discovered amid rubble. When he finally looked up, dawn's first haze softened his studio window. He had worked through night and guilt, into something like dawn. He whispered a promise to the empty room. I will build spaces that never push love into corners. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. At Sunrise Art Retreat, Amira dreamed. In her dream she was 8, hiding under the mango tree, sketching Malik's football game. Elijah appeared, not as the grown man but as a boy her age, sitting beside her with crayons. He said nothing, simply offered a red crayon for the jerseys. Together they drew, side by side. No betrayal, no heartbreak, only colors shared beneath leaf shadows. When she woke, tears wet her pillow, but she was smiling. Elijah strode through the lobby of the State Ministry of Social Development, portfolio under one arm, heart hammering like a jackhammer inside a tin pan. The marble floor glinted with institutional polish, yet smelled faintly of floor disinfectant and tired bureaucracy. Air conditioner sighed overhead, turning humidity into goose bumps on his forearms. He approached the reception desk. Morning. Appointment for Elijah Edozie. Proposed shelter expansion. The clerk flipped a ledger. Commissioner Onyeka is delayed. You can wait in conference 2. Elijah nodded, forcing patience. He found conference 2, a rectangle of plastic chairs facing a dusty projector screen. A spiderweb clung to one corner like an emblem of stalemate. He sat, opened his portfolio, and reviewed blueprints for Blessed Haven's new wing. 30 beds, counseling rooms, an art therapy studio with skylights that bathed walls in natural dawn. Every line carried a private vow. Never again would any woman wander flooded streets, disoriented and alone, the way Amira had. Footsteps echoed. A tall man in an overly crisp suit entered, followed by an aide tapping on a tablet. Elijah Edozie, the commissioner asked, brisk. Yes, say. They shook hands. Elijah noted a slight wince. The commissioner's grip had met the lingering tenderness in Elijah's healed cheek. Reminder of Malik's reminder. Walk me through your proposal, Onyeka said, seating himself. Elijah spread drawings on the table, outlining costs, flood-resistant foundations, solar water heaters, training classrooms. He spoke for 10 minutes without metaphor, just facts and implied contrition. Then he paused, studying the commissioner's neutral expression. Impressive, Onyeka said at last. But the land you request is zoned for commercial redevelopment. Hotels bring revenue. Shelters save lives, Elijah replied. Onyeka steepled fingers. Revenue funds lives. I sympathize, truly. Yet City Council votes next month. Unless you can secure private backing to match projected hotel tax within 20 days, Council will not prioritize your model. Elijah swallowed a surge of frustration. If I bring donors, then I will champion your plan. The commissioner rose, smoothing his lapel. Bring bank drafts, not promises, Mr. Edozie. He left. The aide offered a sympathetic half-smile before hurrying after his boss. Elijah gathered prints, exhaled. 20 days. Outside, sunlight stabbed through cloud breaks, turning every parked car into a molten slab. Elijah dialed Kelechi. "Brother." Kelechi answered above honking horns. "News. Conditional approval. We need matching funds in 20 days. Kelechi whistled. "That is sprinting a marathon. I will tap former clients, maybe 2 venture philanthropists from Lagos. Send me the budget tonight." "Grace upon your hustle," Elijah said. "Better bring coffee," Kelechi teased, then hung up. Elijah pocketed his phone. A text pinged, from an unfamiliar number. Asterisk Mr. Edozie, this is Mima Udo. Officers served us an eviction notice. Redevelopment project. Please, can you come? Asterisk. Elijah felt the ground tilt. The very space he meant to expand was now under threat. He arrived mid-afternoon. The colonial chapel looked smaller than he remembered, dwarfed by a skeletal crane looming over an adjacent plot where a glitzy mall had broken ground. Women huddled in the courtyard, clutching woven handbags that held all they owned. A police pickup idled nearby. Inside the office, Mema Udo handed Elijah a crisp document stamped with red ink. Asterisk vacation of premises, 48 hours. Asterisk. The developer bought half the block, she said, voice weary. Our lease renewal drowned in fine print. Elijah's jaw tightened. I will fight this. Fighting costs coin, she sighed, sinking onto a stool. Coin we save for rice and mosquito nets. Elijah opened his laptop at a wobbly desk, drafting an emergency press release. Asterisk city threatens to displace survivors in favor of retail complex. Asterisk he attached photos of cracked chapel walls, bright murals, children sleeping safely for the first time. Then he emailed every journalist in his network, flagged urgent. While the internet smoked with dispatches, he stepped outside. A young woman painted on a plywood board, purple swirls becoming wings. Her quiet concentration reminded him of a mirror. He approached. Lovely colors, he said. She smiled shyly. Art heals. What is your name? BC, she answered. Thank you for making beauty here, BC, he said, and he meant it. Her smile brightened the courtyard like sunrise in miniature. Elijah returned inside, heart thudding with fresh resolve. Blessed haven must not fall before Amira was ready to see it renewed. Amira wiped turpentine from her fingers and stepped back to inspect the largest canvas she had attempted since arriving. A sprawling triptych, left panel mango grove at dusk, middle storm-soaked porch, right panel dawn horizon where colors merged into something she had labeled becoming. She had painted in near silence for 3 days, save for brief voice diary confessions. Open studio began tomorrow. 10 visiting gallerists and an arts foundation from Accra would tour. The thought made her pulse flutter like trap birds. Raina entered, balancing a basket of clean linen. They posted the schedule, she said, pinning a sheet to the door. Amira's slot, 3 p.m. Malik peeked over Raina's shoulder, then swung an arm around both sisters. Front row seats for us. Amira smiled, though nerves prickled. Promise not to gasp if I freeze. We will create applause loud enough to thaw you, Malik said. Her smile melted into sincerity. Thank you. That evening, while candles flickered and wind rattled shutters, Amira recorded a message. Dear Silence, tomorrow I stand in your spotlight. If you roar, I will coat you in ultramarine. She clicked stop. Asterisk asterisk 5. Elijah's night of numbers asterisk asterisk. Back in Port Harcourt, Elijah sat with spreadsheets and disheveled hair. Kelechi sprawled on the couch, phone glued to his ear. 200,000, Kelechi mouthed, making a thumbs up. He scribbled a pledge on the whiteboard, asterisk Allah Foundation, 200K. Asterisk. Calls bled into dawn. By sunrise they had pledges totaling 60% of the council's required figure. Promising, yet short. Elijah massaged temples. Maybe a gala dinner. Timing, Kelechi warned. Gala planning is glacial. Crowdfunding campaign. Then, viral video. Elijah's mind churned. He pictured Amira narrating asylum stories, but shook the thought. That was her journey, not his marketing. A new text pinged. Asterisk Commissioner Onyeka will inspect Haven Friday 1500 hours. Asterisk 48 hours away. Elijah shut his laptop. We need miracles that move faster than Faye. Morning sun dazzled the turquoise shallows. The retreat bustled with anticipation, easels positioned, name cards set, marimba trio rehearsing under a palm-thatched pavilion. Amira's stomach looped a roller coaster while she sipped mint tea. Raina braided her hair into loose coils. You look like sunrise in human form. I feel like rainfall on a generator, Amira muttered, fingers drumming thighs. Malik fetched a folding chair. In case you need to sit between questions. Amira's gratitude flickered across her face. At 3 p.m. sharp, the bell rang. Guests meandered cottage lanes, pausing at each studio. Executive Director of Gulf Coast Arts Fund, Ms. Nkrumah, led the pack, notebook in manicured hand. When they reached Cottage 8, Amira steadied her breathing. Raina squeezed her shoulder. Malik planted himself just inside the doorway, arms casually folded but eyes hawk alert. Amira greeted everyone, voice steady though palms sweated. She guided them to the triptych. I painted a journey, she began. Left panel is the moment comfort lies. Middle is chaos, torrential. Right is what happens if you keep breathing anyway. Nkrumah studied the wake. Your brushwork harnesses trauma without glamorizing it, she said. Courage on canvas. Another guest, gallery owner Io Balagan, asked, what pigments did you use in the sky shift? Amira explained her homemade glaze of crushed hibiscus and cobalt. Words flowed easier than she expected, like a tap finally unjammed. But when a journalist leaned in with a camera flash, memory detonated, Elijah's camera on honeymoon, asking her to look surprised. The distant moment rushed forward, colliding with the room. Her vision tunneled. Triptych edges blurred. She swayed. Malik saw first. He slipped behind, steadying her arms. Raina blocked the journalist. Guest stepped back, murmuring. I am fine, Amira whispered, though tears pricked. Malik guided her to the folding chair. She inhaled, exhaled, eyes on floor until dizziness eased. Nkrumah crouched to eye level. We can reschedule. Amira shook her head. Storms pass quickly if you let them. She stood, voice stronger. Paintings deserve completeness. She described the final strokes without falter. Applause rippled. The marimba trio launched a lilting tune, easing tension from A. Amira bowed slightly. Relief washed her. Storm navigated. After guests left, Nkrumah returned privately. Gulf Coast Fund awards 1 residency scholarship each cycle. I propose you for it. 6 months in Accra, stipend, gallery exhibition. Amira's mouth parted. I need time. Of course, Nkrumah said, pressing a card into her palm. But the offer is real. That evening a courier delivered Elijah's parcel, ring on cord, note. Raina accepted it, perplexed. She brought it to Amira, who read the letter twice. She traced the plain band, memories flickering, ceremony under jacarandas, laughter, slow erosion. She felt no age to fling the ring into the sea, yet neither to wear it. Instead she placed it inside her voice diary pouch. She clicked record. Today I did not drown. Tomorrow I might learn to swim in deeper water. Friday arrived like a loaded pistol. Elijah donned a plain cotton shirt and reached Blessed Haven at noon. Volunteers painted protest signs. Saving lives is not for sale. Shelter before shopping. Commissioner Oniika's convoy rolled in at 1500 hours. Dust clouds twirling. Press tagged along. Elijah greeted the commissioner, introduced Mima Udo, then led the group through dormitories. Women crocheting mats looked up, shy smiles. Children practiced alphabet songs. In the art corner, Bisi displayed her plywood wings. Oniika paused, genuinely moved. You made this? He asked. Bisi nodded. Art helps my silence speak. Elijah seized the moment. Imagine 20 more Bisis, Commissioner, if we expand. Oniika cleared his throat. Impressive indeed. But funds. Kelechi arrived, panting, waving a tablet. Our crowdfunding just hit target. He turned the screen. Total pledged surpassed council's figure by 50,000. Cheers erupted. Volunteers hugged. Mima Udo wiped tears. Elijah faced the commissioner. City will lose nothing by choosing hope. Oniika scanned the joyous courtyard, then extended a hand. Congratulations, Mr. Edozie. I will recommend approval. Camera shutters clicked, capturing handshake. That night a local news station aired a short segment on the shelter victory. Footage showed Elijah guiding the commissioner past murals. Someone uploaded it to social media with the caption, *Architect redeems old chapel for survivors. The clip spread. By dawn, #Hope Blueprint trended. Many celebrated. One viewer in Kigali recognized Elijah's face, Tara. She stayed at her phone, emotions knotting. She typed a message, then erased it. Instead, she sent the link to Amira's public retreat email with a single line. He is becoming the man you married. Then she powered her device off, tears sliding. That same dawn, Malik checked Amira's emails for retreat confirmations. He saw Tara's message, finger hovering. He hesitated, then forwarded it to Amira. She read it on the veranda as pink-tinged clouds. Heartbeats fluttered. Part of her wanted to hurl the phone. Another part felt a bloom of cautious warmth. She pocketed the device, walked barefoot to the cliff edge. Ocean breathed below. She closed her eyes. "I forgive you because I love me," she whispered, voice lost in wind. Not a promise of return, but a release. She walked back to the studio, dipped her brush in Viridian, and painted a lone lighthouse on the horizon, its beam cutting clean through storm clouds. Some lights guide ships safely home. Some remind ships to chart new routes. Amira did not yet know which beacon Elijah would follow, or which she would. But she painted the beam brighter, believing all journeys deserve illumination. Amira woke before dawn to find that the ocean had stolen her dreams. She remembered falling asleep inside a gentle wave of contentment. Triptych praised, scholarship offered, shelter news forwarded by Malik. Yet sometime in the small hours a riptide of panic had yanked her out of rest. She sat upright on the narrow mattress, pulse racing, ears straining for some unseen threat. The cottage was quiet save for Raina's soft breathing in the next room. Moonlight reached through shutters, striping the floor like prison bars. Amira wrapped the quilt around her shoulders, telling herself it was only night logic, nothing more. Still, she rose and padded to her easel. The lighthouse painting from yesterday stood half-finished, its beams slicing a charcoal storm. She pulled a brush from the jar and dipped into cadmium yellow without thinking. Her hand moved urgently, widening the beam, brightening it until the canvas glowed like a wound cauterized by light. Half an hour passed before she realized tears ran down her cheeks. She pressed linen to her eyes and whispered, "Why now?" The digital recorder sat on the window ledge. She clicked it on and spoke in a hush. 3 a.m. I feel split between before and after. I forgave Elijah yesterday, at least in theory. Perhaps my mind is asking if forgiveness means forgetting. It does not. My scars insist on memory. She clicked stop. The recorder's red light faded. Outside, waves slapped rocks in steady percussion, as if agreeing that healing requires the echo of pain. Tara leaned against a tall window overlooking the runway, rolling prayer beads between her fingers. Kigali's dawn sky was lavender, Kool-Aid scented with coffee from a nearby kiosk. She read Elijah's shelter story again on her phone, noting how the journalist described his blueprint as a cathedral made in apology. Tara's cousin, Chidinma, arrived carrying 2 macchiatos. "Red-eye flights are cruel," Chidinma said, passing a cup. "I need it out of Lagos," Tara replied, though they were already in Rwanda. "Now I feel adrift." Chidinma sipped thoughtfully. Adrift can be good. It lets the tide carry you somewhere unplanned. Tara stayed at the runway tarmac. "I sent Amira that clip. She deserves to know he is trying." Did she answer? "No. Maybe she owes you nothing," Chidinma said gently. "I know." Tara pocketed her beads. "But I owe her truth. And maybe I owe myself a chapter that does not revolve around stolen affection." Chidinma linked arms with her, then started walking. "The gate is this way." Rain pelted the glass balcony door while Elijah paced the living room, rehearsing lines. Today was his 3rd session with Mr. Basie, and he needed to deliver the timeline assignment. He had written 5 pages, but it felt like skimming a wound rather than cleaning it. He stopped at the bookshelf, pulled down a volume of Rumi poems that Amira loved. A dried hibiscus petal marked a place. The wound is the place. Where the light enters you. He read it twice, then slid the book into his satchel. Therapy was not about sounding eloquent. It was about bleeding honestly. He locked the door, umbrella in hand, and stepped into warm rain. Port Harcourt smelled of diesel, wet earth, and fried plantain from roadside stalls preparing breakfast. The city felt raw and alive, exactly how he felt inside. Mr. Basie adjusted his tortoiseshell frames and gestured toward the leather armchair opposite. "You look less haunted today," he observed. Elijah handed over the timeline. "Haunted is still in the house, but perhaps it moved to the attic." The therapist scanned the pages, nodding at intervals. "You outlined key fractures. Let us probe one. Your decision to bring Tara home. What emotion overruled caution?" Elijah inhaled. "Pride disguised as invincibility. I wanted to prove I could juggle two worlds without consequence." What would humble invincibility look like? Accepting that people are not props. Amira was not backdrop. Tara was not plot twist. They are human. "State that again, slowly," the therapist urged. Elijah did. With each repetition, shame softened into clarity. Mr. Basie leaned back. "Homework 2. Draft a letter of accountability to yourself, not to Amira. Detail every boundary crossed. Then craft 3 personal boundaries you will never breach again, no matter the temptation." Elijah nodded. The exercise felt like pouring concrete footings for future self. Mima Udo watched volunteers haul cinder blocks as Mason sang call and response work chants. The city council's final vote was still 2 weeks away, but private donors had advanced enough capital to begin foundation trenches inside the chapel's back lot. Swift progress meant less chance for bureaucratic sabotage. Elijah arrived in boots and helmet. Kelechi waved from atop a scaffold where he documented work with a drone. Elijah greeted BC, who now assisted a mural team splashing color on a temporary privacy wall. She had painted enormous purple wings that unfurled across 20 meters. "This place feels like we outran gloom," BC said, wiping paint flecks from her brow. "Or we convinced gloom to pick a different fight," Elijah replied. He spent the next hours reviewing structural reinforcements, noting where a future art studio could use skylights angled to the equinox sun. Each measurement felt like stitching a wound in the city's tired fabric. At noon his phone buzzed. An unfamiliar Rwandan number. He hesitated, answered. "Elijah." Tara's voice. He stepped behind a stack of bricks for privacy. "Hello. I wanted you to know I left the country. I am starting over." He leaned against the wall. "I hope you find peace." "I watched your interview," she said. "You are different." "I am trying," he whispered. "Then keep trying," Tara said. "And tell Amira. Tell her light never dimmed for lack of your vision. If she shines again, it is because she chooses to." The call ended. Elijah closed his eyes, letting that truth settle. Amira's radiance was never his to dim or brighten. Dr. Sarah gathered 5 residents in a circle under a thatched pavilion. Each held a smooth river stone. The assignment: speak a fee. Place the stone in a central bowl of water, watch it sink, and imagine fear dissolving. Amira's turn came. She clutched her stone, thumb tracing its cool surface. "My fear is that forgiveness will erase my boundaries, that love is a magnet pulling me back into patterns that hurt." She placed the stone into water. It slipped beneath the surface with barely a ripple. Across from her sat Size, a sculptor who survived a house fire set by an excise, whispered, "Forgiveness is not a leash, it is bolt cutters." Amira met her eyes, gratitude blooming. After the session, Dr. Sarah pulled Amira aside. "Your nightmares increased, yes?" Amira nodded. "I want to try guided imagery in our next one-on-one. It can reframe night terror into narrative you control. Like rewriting a script." "Exactly," Dr. Sarah said. They sat in the bamboo gazebo. Dr. Sarah dimmed a small lantern, though daylight filtered through leaves. "Close your eyes," she instructed. "Imagine the door that slams in your nightmares. What does it look like?" Amira saw weathered teak, paint peeling sea green, rusted hinges. "Old cottage door." "Step closer," Dr. Sarah murmured. "Place your palm on it. Is it hot, cold?" "Cold." "Now imagine the handle becomes malleable clay. Shape it into something welcoming." Amira's hand tingled. She molded the mental handle into a smooth arc like a crescent moon. "Open the door," said the therapist. Inside Amira's mind, the door swung open onto the mango grove at dusk. Fireflies drifted. 8-year-old Amira sketched on a low stool. Adult Amira watched her younger self drawing a boy who looked suspiciously like Elijah but in child form, handing her bright crayons. Dr. Sarah guided. "Tell the boy something." Amira spoke aloud, though eyes remained shut. One day your crayons will color over my trust. If you want a place in this grove, draw with care. The boy's crayon paused. He nodded solemnly. Dr. Sarah's voice floated like spice in warm drink. Seal this scene with an anchor image. Amira pictured the crescent handle glowing gold on the grove gate. When she opened her eyes, tears blurred her view. But her breathing was deep, steady. The therapist smiled. You rewrote the door. Now let us practice locking out who you choose. That night Elijah sat at his drafting desk, lamp casting amber light. He addressed the letter to self. He described the first time he flirted with Tara at an industry conference, how it fed his ego. He detailed each lie told to Amira, late site visits, phantom traffic jams. He acknowledged the moment he deleted a voicemail from Amira that had begged for a dinner date before her gallery show. He wrote, I crossed boundaries because I feared boredom more than I valued honesty. Then he listed 3 unbreakable vows. 1. Radical transparency ***. No conversation requires deletion. No calendar entry hides shame. 2. Service before spotlight ***. If applause tempts, measure worth by lives uplifted, not volume of claps. 3. Continuous counsel ***. Therapy, accountability partner, and quarterly reflection with mentors. He signed and sealed the letter in an envelope marked open when tempted. Malik sat in the retreat's communal lounge, laptop open to a draft petition. He was spearheading a campaign to protect artist residences along the coast from land purchases by resort chains. He had borrowed language from city planning ordinances and had contacted 3 environmental lawyers willing to contribute pro bono hours. Raina carried mugs of hot cocoa. You are turning Big Brother energy into policy, she teased. Culture needs shield walls, Malik said. And my fury found a healthy battleground. She kissed his cheek. Our parents would be proud. He exhaled. That means everything. The next morning, a courier from Blessed Haven arrived at the retreat with a slim envelope addressed to Amira. She hesitated before opening. Elijah's handwriting adorned the front, but inside was not another ring. It contained a printed rendering of the proposed art studio. Skylights, mural walls, a central table shaped like a mango leaf. Underneath he had typed, this wing will exist whether or not I stand beside you. If you wish to fill its walls with your colors, the door is yours. Crescent handle included. Folded behind the rendering lay Elijah's accountability letter, unsealed, inviting her to read or discard. She unfolded it cautiously, scanning the admissions, the vies. Tears welled, but they felt cool, like rain on thirsty soil rather than acid. She walked to the cliff edge where she had painted the lighthouse. The sky was pearl gray, sun not yet risen. Wind tugged at her braids. She tore a small corner from the rendering and folded it into a paper boat. Inside she wrote a single sentence. I will decide when the tide turns. She placed the boat on the water at the edge of a tide pool. A gentle wave carried it out, spinning. She watched until the boat vanished in the shimmer. Back inside, she pinned the rest of the rendering above her bed. She did not read the letter further. Not yet. But neither did she throw it away. In a modest apartment overlooking rolling hills, Tara enrolled in a community outreach program that taught digital literacy to refugee women. On her first day, she introduced herself without mentioning romance, scandal, or heartbreak. Instead, she said, I am here to learn how to be useful. A 14-year-old girl named Amina asked if Tara could show her how to design a flyer for her mother's tailoring shop. Tara's voice trembled a little when she said yes. By evening, they had created a bright poster with a sewing machine icon and a tagline, *threads that tell stories star. Amina hugged Tara, who realized usefulness might be a better intoxication than secrecy ever was. Raina and Malik slept. Candlelight cast wavering shadows on the cottage ceiling. Amira sat cross-legged on the floor, lighthouse painting before her. She added one final element, tiny silhouettes in a boat heading toward the beam, or slicing dark water. Above them, the moon glowed, its shape echoing the crescent handle she had imagined in therapy. She stepped back, satisfied. Then she lifted the digital recorder. My name is Amira, she said, voice sure. I am layers. Today my storm quieted enough to hear my heartbeat. I will chase that rhythm wherever it leads, with or without familiar faces beside me. She clicked stop. Outside, Tree frogs began their nightly chorus, and waves answered with a bass drum of eternity. Amira lay down, exhaustion heavy but kind. Sleep took her quickly and held her without nightmares. A violet dawn draped the sky when the city awoke to the ribbon-cutting day. Banners hung from streetlights along Creek Road proclaiming Blessed Haven Reborn. A home for every story. Vendors wheeled carts of puff-puff and a car closer to the chapel, hoping crowds would crave sweetness after witnessing hope. From the half-built mall next door, cranes stood frozen, their long arms resembling giant question marks aimed at the modest sanctuary that had refused extinction. Inside the refurbished courtyard, Elijah adjusted a navy tie that felt too ceremonial for shelter yet necessary for dignitaries. Sunlight splashed across fresh murals. Beast's purple wings now framed the tall double doors, each feather tipped with gold leaf donated by an anonymous patron. Scents of new timber and drying paint mixed with the earthy tang of wet soil where landscapers had planted frangipani overnight. Kelechi jogged over, tablet in hand. Final headcount for the ceremony shows 120 RSVPs, but 200 passed through security already. Word travels. Elijah wiped sweat from his brow. Let them come. Walls expand when intentions do. Mima Udo emerged wearing a sea green iro and buba stitched by a former resident turned seamstress. She carried a cedar box under one arm. Time to place the memory stones, she said, voice gentle. Elijah positioned the box on a pedestal beneath a new steel plaque that read ***. This ground remembers the journeys of the women who walked it. ***. Each stone inside the box bore a name or initial etched in silver ink. Survivors would drop theirs into a glass well after the speeches, symbolizing stories sealed into the building's foundation. He ran fingers over the topmost stone. It read simply ***. He exhaled. Do you think she will come? Mima Udo tilted her head. A letter arrived yesterday. She handed him an envelope bearing Sunrise Art Retreat's postmark. Inside, on cream cardstock, Amira had written only 4 words. ***, I will witness dawn. ***. Elijah pressed the card to his chest, a quiet quake rippling through him. 70 kilometers away, a chartered minibus hummed through palm-lined highways. Amira sat by a window, lighthouse painting rolled in a protective tube at her feet. Beside her, Raina dozed, head bobbing to the rhythm of potholes. Malik sat across the aisle, laptop open as he edited final lines of his petition. Amira traced raindrops that splattered the glass. Her stomach fluttered with a swarm of monarch butterflies, equal parts anticipation and dread. She clutched her digital recorder, thumb hovering over play. Last night she had practiced a grounding mantra. I am led. Each layer speaks. She whispered it now, feeling breath steady. The bus slowed near a roadside checkpoint. Uniformed officers waved it through after a quick glance at the retreat's travel permit. Malik closed his laptop. Almost there. You can still change your mind. Amira shook her head. I promised to witness dawn, not to hide from shadows. Raina smiled, proud. Then let Port Harcourt hear your sunrise. Bisi rushed over, cheeks flushed. She had never met Amira yet felt connected through art. Your triptych inspired the wing feathers, she gushed, pointing at the mural. Amira's eyes glistened. They carry the sky. Bisi beamed. Chairs filled, cameras rolled. Commissioner Oniika stepped to the podium. He spoke of resilience, public-private synergy, and the economics of empathy. Kelechi texted Elijah. He practiced that line all night. Elijah almost smiled. Mimarudo followed, telling a brief history of Blessed Haven. Her voice broke when she described evacuation day, then rose strong when she praised volunteers. At her cue, children filed out, tacking cut paper butterflies onto a lattice behind the podium, each butterfly a vow of freedom. Finally, Elijah approached the microphone. He took no script. His gaze swept the crowd until it found Amira in the second row between Malik and Raina. Buildings, he began, are often measured in square meters, steel weight, and cost per tile. But the truest architecture is measured in breaths eased, in nights slept without fay. These walls stand because many hearts hammered nails of resolve. I once forgot that love is a blueprint too. Today I remember. He signaled to Bisi, who wheeled forward a velvet cushion bearing oversized scissors. Elijah invited Commissioner Oniika and Mima Udo to hold the ribbon with him. As they cut, sunlight burst through cloud cover, striking Bisi's gold-tipped wings so brilliantly that the crowd gasped. In that flash, Camera shutters clicked like summer rain. Applause thundered. While dignitaries shook hands, Elijah stepped aside and retrieved the cedar box. He invited residents, past and present, to place their stones into the well. Women lined up, each moment heavy with whispered memories. When Bisi finished, she handed Amira the stone marked *A*. Amira stepped forward. Every conversation ceased. She cradled the stone, feeling its coolness. Then she spoke, voice clear and resonant. "This stone carries my silence. I fought to carve words where fear had written blanks." She met Elijah's gaze. "I place it here so that silence births safety for others." She leaned over and released the stone. It clinked against glass, settling among others like a final punctuation mark. Applause erupted again, not exuberant but reverent. Elijah's eyes stung. He placed a hand over his heart. Amira acknowledged with a small bow, then returned to her seat. After the crowd dispersed for refreshments, Amira unrolled her lighthouse canvas and followed Bisi into the newly finished art therapy wing. Skylights funneled daylight across blank walls begging for color. Work tables stood ready with brushes, clay, and recycled wood. A faint scent of linseed oil kissed the air. Amira found an easel beneath the largest skylight. She secured the lighthouse piece and stepped back. The overhead glass refracted sunlight into a pale halo around the painted beam. Tears blurred her sight. Malik entered quietly. "Does it feel right?" She nodded. "It belongs here." He rested an arm across her shoulders. "The studio opens to residents in 2 weeks. Shedding silence starts with tools." Amira traced the brushstrokes of the lighthouse. "May I teach the first class?" Malik smiled, relief shining in his eyes. They would be honored. Elijah, meanwhile, gave reporters a quick tour of dorm rooms and therapy nooks. As he slipped into a side corridor for air, he nearly collided with Amira exiting the studio. They froze, alone among freshly painted walls. Elijah's voice trembled. "I did not intend to corner you." Amira regarded him, eyes reflecting soft skylight. A corridor is not a trap unless someone blocks the way. He stepped aside, palms up. "Then the path is yours." She tilted her head. "Why did you leave the accountability letter unsealed?" "Because trust should read instructions before it locks a door," he said. She absorbed that. "I read it last night." His throat tightened. "Then you carry knowledge I cannot erase. Thank you for holding it, whatever you choose." A beat passed. "Elijah," she said softly, "pain can be an echo chamber. You filled yours with purpose. That is good. But do not mistake activity for absolution." He shut his eyes, nodded. "I will keep learning the difference." She glanced toward the studio. "The lighthouse painting belongs to this wing." "I saw," he whispered. Its beam warmed the room. "I painted the boat too," she added, voice almost playful. "I have not decided whether it sails toward home or new worlds." "Either way," Elijah said, "may the water be gentle." She smiled, small, genuine. Then footsteps sounded behind them, Raina calling, "Amira, media wants a word." Amira stepped past Elijah. As she did, her fingers brushed his forearm in a gesture of uncomplicated farewell. Not promise, not finality, simply acknowledgement. Elijah exhaled the breath he had held since she arrived. Mid-afternoon found the courtyard quieter. Guests lingered over jollof rice and agbado. A local youth orchestra played soft Afrojazz beneath a jacaranda whose blossoms matched the ones in Elijah and Amira's long-stored wedding portrait. Amira addressed a semicircle of survivors seated on picnic blankets. She read the charcoal poem she had written during her dawn panic. Asterisk hollow house, echo mouth. Secrets drip from leaking roof. Silence drums if heart is loud. Paint the void with mango proof. Asterisk. The women clicked fingers in appreciation. Bisi grinned so wide it looked like sunrise cracked her face. Elijah listened from a distance, the words seeping into his marrow. When she finished, Amira bowed. Malik handed her a sketchbook for autographs. She laughed, scribbling quick doodles for 2 children who insisted on keepsakes. Commissioner Onyeka approached with an envelope. "Miss Amira, the city would like to purchase your triptych for permanent display in council chambers." Amira's brow furrowed. "I accept if proceeds fund travel grants for artists seeking therapy residences." Onyeka blinked, then nodded with respect. That can be arranged. Malik punched the air in triumph behind the commissioner's back, making Raina choke on her drink. Twilight spilled indigo over Blessed Haven's rooftop. Solar lanterns cast warm pools along paths where residents would soon walk without fear. After the last guest departed, volunteers gathered for a quiet toast of zobo and ginger. Elijah sought out a mirror one final time. She stood on the front steps, gazing up at the gold-tipped wings glowing in lantern light. "Thank you for trusting the beam," he said softly. She kept eyes on the mural. "Thank you for not dimming it to protect your eyes." He nodded. Both watched the wings catch gusts of night wind, seeming almost to flutter. After a pause, Amira spoke. "Tomorrow I return to the retreat. The residency in Accra begins in 6 weeks. I have accepted." Hope and ache mingled inside Elijah like two colors swirling but not blending. "Accra will gain a brilliant dawn." She turned toward him then, expression serene. "Port Harcourt has one too. Make sure it rises for every soul who wanders in the dark." "I will," Elijah vowed. She extended her hand. He shook it lightly, the gesture formal yet tender. Then she descended the steps to where Malik waited by a taxi. As it pulled away, Elijah lifted his hand in silent salute. The taxi crossed the Bonny River Bridge, city lights reflecting like scattered jewels. In the backseat, Amira hummed a melody that had floated through her guided imagery sessions. Raina rested her head on Amira's shoulder, drifting to sleep. Malik looked out the window, fingers drumming rhythms for protest chants yet to be sung. Amira closed her eyes. She saw the corridor, Elijah's bowed head, the lighthouse wing, and the boat adrift under crescent moon. She realized with quiet certainty that the boat did not require a destination to justify the journey. Motion itself was meaning. She opened her digital recorder. "Tonight I shook hands with a ghost," she whispered. "He no longer rattles chains. I feel only wind where his haunting stood. Tomorrow I paint the ocean not as a barrier but as a path of shimmering possibility." She clicked stop, leaned back, and let the hum of tires lull her into sleep where no nightmares prowled. The atrium of Civic Tech Convention Hall pulsed with designer sneakers, malachite cufflinks, and a buzz of caffeine-fueled ambition. Banners floated overhead shouting asterisk "Rebuild Africa, Architecture for Equity Star." Elijah adjusted his conference badge, feeling like a termite in a parade of starlings. He had come to unveil a rapid assembly shelter kit inspired by Blessed Haven's rebuild, but after the inauguration he sensed a deeper obligation. At registration, a volunteer handed him the updated schedule. *** Keynote 3, Reckoning with Failure. Architect Elijah Edozie *** stared back in bold italics. He exhaled. When the planning committee asked him to anchor their ethics segment, he rewrote his presentation 4 times before settling on raw truth. Kelechi met him near a display of augmented reality building models. "Stage is set. No backing out." "I know," Elijah said. "Remember, confessions land softer when they carry blueprints for repair." Elijah managed a tight smile. "Hold my seat in the back row later, in case I forget my own name." He headed backstage, palms already damp. Amira stood before 12 residents in the lighthouse wing, her first formal class. Rain pattered the skylights, but inside the studio smelled of turpentine, cocoa butter, and dawn energy. Easels circled a central table shaped like a mango leaf, just as Elijah's rendering had shown. "Today," she told them, "we paint a sound we cannot speak." Brows knit in curiosity, she demonstrated by stroking ultramarine across canvas while humming a lullaby. The note wavered between minor and major, and her brush followed. When she stepped aside, the class began dipping brushes into jars, mouths releasing hesitant tuneful fragments, hums, whistles, one bold ululation. Color erupted around the room. Malik, seated unobtrusively near the door, watched pride swelling in his chest. Raina filmed short clips to share with sponsors. As Amira guided an older woman's shaky hand, her own voice recorder hummed silently in her apron pocket, gathering small moments of courage. Spotlights flared as Elijah reached the lectern. 2 giant screens flanked him, one showing his slides, the other his live face, cheek faintly scarred from Malik's punch, a badge of accountability. "Good afternoon," he began, voice steady. "I plan to talk about modular trusses and flood-resistant anchors, but steel cannot heal shame. So I start with failure." A murmur rippled through the 300 architects, investors, and city planners. Elijah clicked a slide. His wedding portrait faded into view, then dissolved into a timeline of deception leading to blessed havens near eviction. I weaponized my skill to hide wrongdoing, he said. I designed walls to shelter excuses. When those walls collapsed, a woman I vowed to cherish wandered the streets in hypothermic shock. He shared the hospital bracelet, the blank note, the rescue of the chapel. He showed Beese's wings and the memory stones. On the second screen, testimonial clips played. Mema Udo praising solidarity, Kelechi outlining donor drives, a 90-second excerpt of Amira's poem, used with her permission, voice disguised by soft synth to protect privacy. The hall was silent, save for projector fans. Elijah concluded, blueprints are promises. Break one and bricks may still stand, but trust becomes rubble. My plea is this: design structures that keep you honest, because sooner or later character load tests every beam. He paused, scanning faces. Some glistened with tears, others stared, arms crossed, unmoved or processing. He clicked to the final slide, a QR code linking to open-source plans for the shelter kit. Steal these. Improve them. Build safe rooms faster than storms gather. Applause started hesitant, then grew thunderous. Elijah's knees threatened to buckle. He bowed, exited side stage, and collapsed onto a folding chair. Sweat soaked his collar, but lightness filled his chest, the kind that follows an exhale held too long. Backstage, a tall woman in indigo suit approached. I represent the Pan-African Relief Coalition. We fund scalable housing after natural disasters. We would like to pilot your kit in Niger Delta flood zones. Elijah blinked. Yes, thank you. Her handshake was firm. Your transparency sold us more than your numbers. When she left, Kelechi appeared, eyes shining. You just turned confession into capital for good. Capital without conscience becomes rust, Elijah said, but he smiled. Tara sat on a rooftop terrace sipping ginger tea. A string-like canopy lent the night a soft glow, and the city below hummed polite traffic. She scrolled her feed until Elijah's speech surfaced, shared by an architecture blog. She tapped play, heart fluttering. When it ended, she wiped tears. Chidinma joined her carrying 2 samosas. You look like someone delivering twins. I just watched a man learn integrity in front of 1,000 strangers, Tara said. Chidinma offered a samosa. Forgiveness tastes better than regret. Tara bit into pastry, spicy filling warming her mouth. I hope that woman paints continents, huge and wild, never shrinking to fit anyone again. The painting session ended. Canvases leaned against walls, each humming with untold stories. Amira dimmed lights to let glazes cure, then walked the silent corridors. She found herself at the studio window that overlooked the moonlit ocean. She raised her recorder. He confessed publicly. I thought I would feel triumphant, but what I feel is expansive relief, like doors flung open in a stuffy room. Still, my road is forward. Tomorrow we begin sculpting clay whistles, teaching breath to guide shape. She pocketed the device and stared at the horizon. Lightning flickered far out to sea, beautiful and distant. 3 days later, courier delivered a box to the retreat. Inside lay miniature shelter models cut from bamboo and labeled with room functions in Elijah's handwriting. On top, a note. Asterisk, dear lighthouse keepers. Your first 12 kits ship next month. Paint them any color. Fill them with any voice. If you need more, whistle. Asterisk. Amira smiled. She placed the models on a shelf where residents could rearrange them like puzzle pieces. Then she typed a brief email. Asterisk, blueprint received. We will color outside every line. Asterisk. On the convention's final night gala, Elijah stood under crystal chandeliers watching colleagues toast prototypes. Many asked technical questions, a few asked probing personal ones. He answered both sets without flinching. After dessert plates cleared, the host invited speakers to read a single line describing their vision. Elijah stepped to the microphone and recited, May the homes we build teach hearts to stay open after their occupants step outside. A hush followed, then applause. He rejoined his table where Kelechi slid him a folded napkin and pointed to the writing. Asterisk, board seat at coalition offered. Call tomorrow. Asterisk. Elijah shook his head in disbelief and laughter. While Elijah charmed Lagos, Malik stood in a small courtroom in Port Harcourt. 3 environmental lawyers flanked him as they presented evidence that resort development would erode dunes, jeopardizing artist colonies. The judge, A stoic woman in turtle-shell spectacles listened intently. In the gallery, BC and several residents sat clutching sketches of mangroves. When the judge ruled in favor of Malik's injunction, cheers rose. Malik exhaled so long he felt hollow and new. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Malik raised his fists. Art is not luxury, it is memory and prophecy. We will not trade prophecy for profit. That evening Elijah's phone buzzed. Malik's name flashed. He answered, wary. Elijah, Malik said, voice warm for the first time since the punch. Your keynote hit my feed. Good swing. Elijah swallowed. Your injunction just protected the coast. Good uppercut. Silence, then chuckles. Malik spoke again. Amira told me to remind you that boundaries are doors, not walls. Keep the handle crescent. I will, Elijah promised. Congratulations, counselor. Architect, Malik said, if your shelter kits need coastal zoning advice, call me. Elijah felt gratitude flood. I will. They ended the call smiling, each feeling bricks of animosity crumble. Amira sat on the retreat jetty at dusk, feet dangling above swirling plankton that glittered turquoise when stared. She unfolded a plane ticket to Accra. Departure in 10 days. Breath hitched, half thrill, half ache. Raina joined her holding pineapple juice bottles. I booked our parents' flight to the Accra showcase. They are excited and nervous. Amira laughed softly. They will compare gallery lighting to generator bulbs at home. Families keep us humble, Raina said. Amira twirled her ticket. The ocean looks different when it divides countries you love. It is the same sea, Raina said, sipping juice. It just tells different myths to different shores. Amira leaned against her sister, heart settling into a rhythm not born of fear but of anticipation. That night, under mosquito netting in a small hostel room, Elijah opened a blank page. He began designing a lighthouse kit, cheap plywood tower with solar beacon, easy to assemble at coastal safe houses. He named the file *** Project Leia ***, an homage to Amira's mantra, people are led. He wrote a dedication line, ** for the woman who paints sound, and for every soul learning to hum again. **. A meteor streaked outside his window, a flash so swift he questioned if it was dream. He took it as permission to dream anyway. Kotoka International's arrival hall smelled of roasted plantain and fresh disinfectant. Amira wheeled a single suitcase past a mural of Kent patterns swirling into pixelated sound waves. The Gulf Coast Arts Fund driver held a placard that read *AMAA. She waved, realizing the alias still shielded privacy in ways she appreciated. Sun drenched the van windows as they sped toward Osu, sea glitter peeking between colonial balconies and glass towers. Amira clutched a tote filled with sketchbooks, clay whistles, and the lighthouse painting carefully rolled in a PVC tube. The residency director had already promised it the best wall in the Ocean View Gallery. Her phone buzzed. Malik, judge signed permanent coastal protection today. Developers must provide relocation stipend for affected artists. Victory. She replied with a photo of Ghana's coastline cresting beneath a turquoise sky. Waves whisper applause. Elijah stood inside a cavernous workshop where workers assembled the first batch of plywood lighthouse kits. Each flat-pack tower would rise in villages along the Niger Delta, symbols of safe harbor. He ran a hand over the sanded edge of a crescent-shaped door handle. Kelechi breezed in, wielding 2 bottles of malt soda. Signed the coalition board charter in ink. They expect quarterly progress, no excuses. Elijah clinked bottles. Deadlines keep remorse productive. A junior engineer hurried over. Architect, a journalist wants a statement for tomorrow's feature, from scandal to shelter. Elijah considered. Tell her the scandal belonged to yesterday. The shelters belong to every tomorrow. The engineer nodded, jotting the quote. Evening rain pattered across corrugated roofs, while Tara taught refugee women to draft invoices in spreadsheet cells. Amina's mother, Zainab, arrived with a cloth-wrapped parcel. Inside lay a hand-stitched tote bag patterned with crescents and mango leaves. For the teacher who found new threads, Zainab said, eyes shining. Tara hugged the bag to her chest. I am learning more than I teach. Later she wrote an email to Amira titled *, no reply needed *, your painting reached deeper than confession. Thank you for the mirror. May our reflections lead us to kindness. She hovered. then hit send, feeling neither fear nor expectation. The residency campus overlooked Labadee Beach, gulls wheeling in salt-brisk air. Each dawn, fellows gathered for silent sketching while fishermen hauled nets to shore. Amira found comfort in the rhythmic haul. Pull, rest, pull. Healing mirrored that cadence. She arranged the lighthouse painting on a studio wall, then pinned blank canvases around it, forming a constellation. She titled the series *Tuning Forks*, intent on capturing unseen vibrations between memory and future. During orientation, director and crewmer announced that fellows must host a public talk. Amira's date, 60 days out. Her topic, *layered voices, painting the unspoken. The thought stayed equal parts excitement and tremor. Each week Elijah mailed a progress snapshot to the lighthouse wing. Photos of shelters rising on stilts, children painting doors in tangerine and teal. He enclosed no letters, only images and captions like *Door 21 breathes easier now. Amira displayed them on a corkboard under the heading *Journeys in Wood and Light Star. Residents pinned thank you notes beside each photo, crayon hearts, snippets of poetry, one adorable doodle of Elijah in hard hat with superhero cape. She smiled whenever she passed the board, grateful that remorse could manifest as roofs over strangers rather than words clawing for absolution. At Sunrise Art Retreat's Ghanaian sister campus, Dr. Sarah visited Amira for a follow-up session. In a shaded courtyard lined with bougainvillea, they practiced closing the mental grove door without feeling trapped. Imagine the crescent handle again, Dr. Sarah prompted. Amira saw it, forged now of polished bronze. She turned it, stepped into a memory, Elijah kneeling by the mango tree after their university convocation, sketchbook in hand, asking her to draw their future house. The scene once pierced, now it glowed amber, distant yet gentle. What layer surfaces? The therapist asked. Gratitude, Amira answered. We'll learn shape from collapse. Dr. Sarah smiled. When gratitude flowers where pain once rooted, the soil becomes fertile for anything. 2 months later Elijah inaugurated the first lighthouse tower in Oran Village. Dusk painted the sky apricot as villagers gathered, lanterns bobbing. Children giggled, racing up the spiral ramp to the viewing deck where a solar beacon blinked to life. Elijah cut a ribbon of woven palm fronds while choirs hummed. As night settled, the beacon cast a halo across dark water. An elder placed a woven bracelet on Elijah's wrist and said, "Light should travel farther than regret." Elijah swallowed emotion, replying, "And illuminate more than one horizon." News of the Oran beacon reached social media. Malik shared the clip, captioning, "When design bows to dignity." Tide shift at BC painted a watercolor of the beacon, mailing the original to Amira in Accra. Amira received it on a humid morning. She propped the painting beside her easel, then mixed a glaze of indigo and gold. On a fresh canvas she painted a woman placing stones into clear water beneath the beacon's glow, ripples morphing into musical notes. She titled it *Release. Back home, Elijah opened the sealed envelope titled *Open when tempted star. He reread his vows, then added a fourth in bold ink. For, on a distance never cross into another's healing space uninvited, no matter the longing. He resealed the letter and filed it in a box labeled Integrity Toolkit Star. The residency gallery buzzed with hammer taps and ladder creaks as fellows mounted final works. Amira's constellation of canvases shimmered, blues resonating like bass notes, yellows flaring like brass, deep violets humming cello undertones. Director and crewman walked in, hands clasped. Your series carries a frequency. Viewers may not hear it, but their bones will. Amira thanked her, heart thrumming. She drafted an invitation email blind copied to friends. To Elijah she sent only one line. Subject for your toolkit thank you for building beacons. I will unveil echoes tomorrow. Witness from afar if you wish. She attached a livestream link. Elijah saw it while reviewing supply orders. He forwarded the link to Malik with a note. Honoring distance. Malik replied thumbs up. The gallery lights dimmed, then brightened to reveal Amira's layered voices in full glory. A sea breeze drifted through open louvers, carrying distant drumming from Osu's streets. Patrons shuffled forward, hushed by color that seemed to pulse like living skin. Amira wore a simple ivory shift and sandals stained with dried cobalt. a nod to both ceremony and studio grit. Raina and Malik flanked her, parents beaming nearby. Tara watched via livestream in Kigali, one hand pressed to her crescent mango tote. Elijah streamed from a lantern-lit construction site, hard hat tucked under arm, crew clustered behind him. Director and crewman introduced Amira. Applause rose like gentle surf. Amira stepped to the podium, recorder in hand. "I came here layered in stories," she began, voice amplified yet soft. "Some layers were scars, some lullabies. Tonight I peeled back a layer to reveal sound." She pressed play. The recorder played snippets, waves at Port Harcourt, a door click transforming into drumbeat, a chorus of survivors humming during her first class, and her own poetic lines. As sounds bloomed, gallery lights dimmed and spotlights on each canvas intensified, making pigment shimmer. Viewers gasped. The canvases appeared to emit their own chords, color vibrating in sympathy with the audio collage. When the final note faded, silence expanded, sacred rather than empty. Amira concluded, "Forgiveness is not a return to what broke. It is choosing texture over smoothness, melody over mute. I remain led, and that is my wholeness." Thunderous applause. Tears gleamed on many faces, including Malik's stoic cheeks. After mingling with guests, Amira slipped onto the balcony overlooking Labadi's dark waves. She found a single unread text, Elijah. Asterisk witnessed from afar. The echoes reached the lighthouse deck. Keep layering. E.**. No request. No future tether. She smiled, typing, asterisk beacon steady. Boat sails onward. She hit send, hard light. In Kigali, Tara and Amina's family watched the showcase on a laptop balanced atop a sewing machine. When it ended, Amina's younger brother clapped. Tara raised a mug of spiced tea. To layered women. Zainab lifted fabric scraps skyward, chanting, "Colors remember." Weeks later, Elijah inaugurated the second lighthouse in a creekside village. Children hung framed drawings inside its ground floor classroom. Textbooks were scarce, but art flowed. Elijah pinned Amira's reply text on the notice board as a silent mantra. Asterisk boat sails onward. Malik's coastal protection order sparked statewide legislation requiring resort developers to fund cultural conservation zones. He sat in a committee chamber, drafting clauses while wearing a pin shaped like Beese's gold-tipped feather. Legacy felt tangible. Raina launched an online marketplace for survivors' art, shipping their pieces to buyers across Africa and the diaspora. Her first sale, a clay whistle shaped like a crescent moon, glazed in mango leaf green. She messaged Amira, asterisk sold for enough to cover 2 months' rent for the sculptor. Amira replied with dancing emojis. Months rolled. Elijah visited Accra on coalition business, but sent Amira a note first, asterisk passing through, not intruding. Coffee at an outdoor cafe. If not, no offense. She agreed, setting boundaries. 1 hour. Public spot near the residency. They met under flowering frangipani. The conversation was gentle, free of need. They shared updates on shelters and art classes. Elijah slid a tiny blueprint across the table, a portable pop-up gallery module shaped like an unfurled wing. "No strings," he said. "Name a color palette." Amira considered. "Sunrise to dusk gradient. Let the walls shift as day moves." He nodded. They parted with a handshake that felt like placing a smooth stone into clear water. Weight acknowledged. Ripple brief. 1 year after Blessed Haven reopened, the shelter hosted a festival. 4 lighthouse kits dotted the coast, each beacon synchronized to flash in sequence, creating a wave of light visible from the chapel courtyard. Survivors, donors, villagers, and city officials gathered, releasing lanterns skyward. Amira stood beside the lighthouse wing, children tugging her sleeves for guidance on brush technique. Elijah directed drone footage overhead. Tara and her Kigali students joined via livestream, singing a Swahili lullaby. Malik unveiled a plaque honoring environmental guardians. Raina sold out her pop-up market booth. When the beacons ignited at dusk, people cheered. Each flash seemed to syllable a quiet proclamation. Still hay. Still rising. Late that night, Amira sat alone in the mango leaf classroom, lighthouse beams sweeping through upper windows. She turned on her trusty recorder. "Last entry," she whispered. "The woman who vanished has uncloaked herself. She smells of turpentine and ocean brine, laughs at gull calls, teaches color to people who forgot sound. She paused, smiling. She remembers herself. She clicked stop, placed the recorder atop a shelf of student projects, and labeled it * archive of becoming star. Morning sun painted the tide gold. Amira walked barefoot along wet sand, lighthouse silhouettes punctuating the horizon. She carried a small paper boat folded from Elijah's first blueprint. At the waterline she placed it gently on a receding wave. Behind her, voices from the festival stirred awake, but she kept eyes on the boat until it tipped, filled, and gracefully sank. A farewell, not to a person, but to the hush of her former self. She faced the rising sun, inhaled salt air, and felt every layer within her hum in harmony. The melody was no longer fractured, it was a chorus. With steady steps she turned toward the lighthouse wing where new students waited, brushes raised. The woman who remembered herself was ready to teach them how silence can shimmer, how wounds can birth beams, and how forgiveness, untethered from return, can light the world.
Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment your thoughts and share. See you in the next story. AFRITALES by Moonlight.